the worst possible role that you can play in society is being a people pleaser. Someone who constantly goes against what they want to make other people happy. People that don't even care about them. And if you're easily triggered, you got to get off the video because this is going to be a super triggering video. And part of it is also a note to my past self because I used to be a people pleaser. And I'm going to get into that because I want this to be transparent. But the worst possible way you can live life is to constantly just negate everything about what you desire, is to constantly turn a blind eye in terms of the things that you actually want, and to give everything for everybody else other than yourself. And with this video, my intention is to help you step into your villain era. Because what I'm realizing even now, after building multiple businesses, and especially now with growing my consulting business and my personal brands, you cannot be the nice guy. You cannot be the fucking nice guy. Now, what do I mean by that? Because everyone might be triggered. What I mean by this is, if you're a people pleaser and if you bring that into business, that's going to translate in a sense of you're going to undercharge. You're not going to charge what you're worth. You're going to be scared to charge higher prices. You're going to constantly over deliver. You're going to constantly give discounts. You're going to, instead of negotiating partnerships and making sure you get the percentage that you need to get, you're not going to do that. And you're just going to self-sabotage. And I used to do that for like most of my life. I think most of my life I was a people pleaser. And it started out, I think from like primary school, from like first grade, when I was brainwashed by my parents, by my grandparents, by school, into this idea of you constantly have to please others. You constantly have to give everything for others, nothing for yourself. You ain't got to be selfish. You got to be humble, and you constantly have to give everything to others. Now, there are tons of things that I want to get into with this video. But it's also this idea of being a nice guy. Because for us men, this is something huge that we bring into adulthood, we bring into business, we bring into every single interaction. And it took me a long fucking time to get rid of this. And I think there are still residuals that I have to take a look at and I have to completely remove and fully step into the villain role. And I'm going to explain that later in the video, so wait for that. But what I'm noticing is this nice guy syndrome of I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to seem like I'm too flamboyant, I'm too arrogant. I'm just trying to sit in my own lane and I'm not trying to do anything. That shit keeps you stuck. And if you're someone who wants to, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to be fucking successful, if you want to be huge, if you want to build a fucking legacy, okay, a legacy for you, your family, the future generations, your entire lineage, you cannot be a nice guy. You have to start embodying the villain. And again, I'm going to break all of that. But let's take a look at first how this sort of people-pleasing thing manifests in day-to-day life and how it did for me as well. And I'll tell you why. It's this idea of you almost shape-shift with every single person or group that you come in contact with. You abandon your own set of values. You abandon any notion of boundaries. And this applies to, by the way, every single thing from intimate relationships to friendships to business partnerships, every single thing. It applies into everything. Because you cannot be yourself when you try to people please, when you haven't healed that part of you, when you haven't fully stepped into the most authentic version of yourself. What you're going to do as a people pleaser is you're going to constantly wear this mask. And regardless of the interaction that you're having, you're constantly going to wear this mask in every single social setting, in every single scenario. You might have a conversation with a potential client. You might be on a sales call. And because you're trying to please everyone, you might think to yourself, this person is like not someone that I'm trying to fucking work with. Like they're not my ICP. They're not my ideal client. And instead of saying that, Not only you don't say that, you just give them a fucking discount. So you're trying to please them and you're in this mode of, I put on this mask and I try to give everything and abandon myself. That's how this people pleasing thing happens in society and with friends as well. You might have some boundaries that you need to enforce, but you don't because you're afraid of making them upset with you. So you keep that to yourself, and that only leads to resentment. That only leads to you living this really shitty emotional life that is super low, super negative, because you constantly, in the back of your mind, you constantly resent everyone for the boundaries that you haven't been able to enforce. You resent everyone. You hate people. You say everyone is bad. Everyone is trying to take advantage of me. No. It's not like everyone is trying to take advantage of you. You are just giving yourself on a silver platter without any kind of boundaries, without any kind of beliefs that are enforced. Because that's what happens when you are a people pleaser. You do not have a clear identity. Because you're shape-shifting to fit into whatever situation you're in. Now, there are a lot of nuances to this because especially when you're an entrepreneur, if you want to be super high level, you have to understand every kind of social scenario and setting, and you have to be able to a degree, adapt, of course, your behavior to that particular social setting. So, for example, in my case, when I grew up in like bad fucking environments. And now in later in life, I can, for example, have dinner at a fucking 2 Michelin star restaurants with a CEO. I can be in the most premium, most exclusive environment, but I can also hang out with just fucking like bad people. People that do crazy shit. Now, regardless of the environment that I'm in, I'm still gonna be myself. That's the thing. I'm not trying to please, I'm still gonna be myself, but some things might be adapted. And that is usually the thing that you learn, and it's a lot of like NLP stuff, but that's usually what you learn when you grew up in a really like bad environment, right? But I just want to quickly give you a breakdown of how this sort of manifested in my own life. Because I think now looking back, I think most of my life I've lived a sheltered sort of different version of myself that was almost suppressed. Because deep down, I was constantly afraid of making others upset. And in my life, doubt was never the problem. It was arrogance. It was this feeling of, I don't want to seem too arrogant because I do believe in every single thing that I've done throughout my life. I 1000% believe in that shit. I believe it. I'm that guy that has the delusional self-belief. And I'm that guy that also tells people that, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm amazing. Regardless of what I'm building, I'm the best in this. And people get triggered by that because people do not like other people that truly believe in themselves because everyone's self-image is a fucking mess. So the way this people-pleasing thing manifested in my life was I was looking around and nobody in my environment was really, not in college because I dropped out, and then I was making music before. If you're new here, like I was making music before business, and then even in business, everyone around me in my environment, it's not like I was surrounded by millionaires. I wasn't surrounded by millionaires. And so my thinking was, I'm trying to please them and I'm not trying to enforce any boundaries. I'm not trying to enforce my set of beliefs too much. I'm just going to try and play it small and essentially dumb myself down for the sake of making them comfortable. Because that's what really this shit is. It's abandoning your identity and putting on this mask to just hide the things that you truly believe in, the things that you feel in your soul. And this might be confidence, it might be your belief system, and you're trying to hide that to make them feel comfortable. But what ends up happening is you get into this like vicious cycle where no matter what the situation is, no matter what scenario you're in, again, I said like you can be in a potential partnership negotiation, even fucking relationships. And instead of you having the balls to fucking enforce your set of beliefs and your boundaries as a man, and then as a business person, as an entrepreneur, if you don't have the balls to do that, people are going to walk all over you. That's just what it is. And so for me, for example, when I started to get into in business, I was doing that with clients. And when I had my agency, I could talk about this shit for hours. Because when I had my agency, is literally, I was undercharging so much because I did not want to quote unquote bother anyone. I didn't want to seem like, oh, I'm this arrogant guy and I'm just trying to help everyone, because that's also a thing that the people pleasers have, is they have this thinking of, I'm gonna do my best to not bother anyone, and not only that, I'm gonna do my best to help everyone and make everyone happy but myself. And that's what I was doing. I was undercharging, and deep down I was resenting everyone that I came in contact with, all of my clients. I was resenting every single person that I was talking to, because I was just in that state of, I'm trying to abandon myself for the sake of others. I'm abandoning who I really am. I don't even know who I am anymore, but I'm just, I'm dumbing myself down for the sake of others. Because if I'm not gonna do that, if I'm gonna show up as who I really am, I have that fear that people are gonna leave me. I had that throughout my fucking life. This fear of abandonment, right? This abandonment issue that was really deeply rooted in childhood. This thing where it's like, if I impose my boundaries and if I show my true nature, who is really ambitious and really fucking like, I'm a fucking savage. I'm a savage. And if I show that, people are going to be bothered. Of course, people are going to be bothered. So what did I do? I just put out this mask, which was, again, everything is a mask. That's what people pleasing is you don't show up as your authentic self. You just show up as this mask, and your identity is hidden. And you do that to just protect the emotions of people that truly do not care about you, or they might care about you. But at the end of the day, why does it fucking matter? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And that, as I was saying, manifested in my life like that. Like, really, I think I really saw that when I really got into business. When I started my agency, I really saw that. This fear of, I don't want to charge too much. I don't even want to have any boundaries. I don't even want to do contracts. I don't even want to do anything, because that might bother people. So I'm just going to stay in my own sort of small lane, and I'm going to think small, because that is also people pleasing. It's like thinking small. And that, combined with the other businesses that I was building, only led to me being so resentful and so mad at the world, and even like my friends, the people that I was surrounded by. I was hating everyone because of the fact that it wasn't on them, it was on me. Because as a people pleaser, it's never on the other people. It's on you to put your boundaries in place. It's on you to say the things that you actually believe in, instead of just dumbing yourself down and putting on that mask to please others. And I got to this point where I was so resentful. I was so bitter. And that manifested in the personal brand as well. It's like I remember when I started taking off on Instagram last year, after like 3 months and a half of constant back-to-back posting every single day with no results. At one point, I took off, and then I started to sell an initial sort of program, like super small. It was kind of like a course. And I remember I was selling it for $97. $97. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh my God, this is too much, right? Like I genuinely thought that I was harming people. This is on a really like subconscious level. Like, I'm doing people like a disservice if I charge them. In the back of my mind, I still had that belief, like, I just want to give. And mind you, you have to give value. There's a caveat to this. You have to give value. You have to give value, but you don't have to let other people walk all over you in business, especially in business. It should be across every aspect of your life, but especially in business. because that's going to drive you insane. And it did that to me. It did that to me. Because again, most of my career was spent in this sort of fucking bubble of make sure you don't charge too much, make sure, and that comes from family, that comes from friends who never fucking made it in business. And they tell you, that's the thing, you have to, as you step out of this people-pleasing fucking modes and you step into the villain mode, which I'm going to cover in a bit, you have to let go of any kind of advice from people. It could be your mom. It could be like my mom right now. She might be watching this. Sometimes she's trying to give me some business advice and she's never built a business herself. And I love my mom, right? But I tell her like, look, I'm not gonna take any advice from you. It's like Kanye in that interview. Like, you cannot give me any advice. I'm not gonna take any advice from you because you haven't been there. If you haven't walked the path, you are not entitled to any advice, to give any advice. And that is the thing. I got that from my family, my family that was never in business. Like my parents are not entrepreneurs. I don't come from a background of, entrepreneurs and multi-million-dollar businesses. No. And so I took that advice of don't bother people, don't keep your head low, like, stay in your own lane, don't charge too much. I took that, and that literally manifested and constructed my entire identity, which I brought into even my personal brands. And then I was seeing that, wait a minute, like there comes a point where you have so much leverage and so much value to give, especially if you're a content creator, especially if you're a mentor. For example, the way I'm doing it now with my consulting clients, where I do one-on-one mentorship that literally builds the entire infrastructure and just the whole premium brand for someone and allows them to make 100,000, 200,000 a year, right? It's like there comes a point where you have so much value to give, where if you don't charge what you're worth, you're literally gonna burn yourself out and you are gonna hate your entire business. And I went through it. And the thing was, I realized that I needed to stop being that nice guy. I needed to stop trying to please everyone. And I needed to step into that villain mode that completely makes everyone uncomfortable. Everybody. I want everyone to call me arrogant. I want everyone, when I walk in, when I talk about the things that I'm doing, with the passion that I have, with the excitement, with the self-belief, I want everyone to say, yeah, who the fuck is this guy? Like, shut up, bro. I want them to feel uncomfortable. Because that is the consequence of you actually having that self-belief. That is the consequence. Or otherwise, you're just going to keep your head down, not bother anyone, and live a fucking shitty life. Because you're abandoning yourself. Because that's the thing. You constantly, and I want you to write this down if you're still watching. Write this down. You abandon yourself to get acceptance from people that you're not even aligned with. You abandon yourself to get acceptance from people that you're not even aligned with. That's your life. That's your life. And I want you to be honest with yourself, and then with me, you can write a comment down below. But that's 98, 99% of people. You don't even know what your identity is. You've been walking around abandoning yourself for so long, hurting yourself, hurting your own belief system, dissolving that identity to the point where you don't even know who you are anymore. You just know how to please everyone else but yourself. But yourself. And this idea of abandoning who you really are, abandoning your set of beliefs, abandoning everything that you truly, truly stand for, can only leads to a lack of clarity, a loss of, again, identity, and ultimately just overall misalignment. And when you live life misaligned with who you're supposed to be, your purpose in this life, your entire existence will be miserable. Okay? Miserable. It will be fucking miserable. So my question to you right now is, for how long do you want to keep this going? For how long? How long? You've been giving up on yourself for so fucking long, you don't even know who you are anymore. For how long do you want to keep this up? Or is it finally time for you to say, you know what? It's time to become the villain. It's time to become that guy who believes in himself. It's time to become that guy who doesn't let other people walk all over him. It's time to become that guy who's able and willing and is feeling confident to charge more than what he's worth. Because you know what that does also? When you dare to have the balls to charge more than what you might be worth in that moment, it forces you to transform your identity. It forces you to upgrade who you really are and step up for that occasion, step up for that opportunity. If you're constantly undercharging, that's also a coping mechanism, because deep down you're scared into shifting your identity and upgrading yourself into the version of you who you know you need to become. And that's why you constantly undercharge. That's why you don't impose any kind of boundary, because you're afraid of becoming that villain. Okay? You're afraid of becoming that villain. Now, let's cover that villain. What does becoming a villain mean? What is this villain era, right? That you have to step into, and that I have stepped into as well. And that also, by the way, allow me to finally become aligned with the things that I'm doing with my business. And frankly, it allowed me to sign really high ticket clients. I'm talking 5 figures. And I stopped directing my attention to broke people. I stopped directing my attention to people that are not involved. And I just got the fucking balls to charge what I'm worth and even more. Because it's all about how big do you actually think. So, what is this idea of being a villain? When I say being a villain, especially in today's society, which is so neutered and so messed up, being a villain is all about choosing yourself and living as the most authentic version of yourself. That is what this whole villain thing is all about. And when I say villain, I say that because the minute you do that, you will become unstoppable and you will become dangerous. You will become so, you will be like a threat. You will become a threat to people who already know you, who constantly viewed you as the people pleaser. You start to become a fucking asshole, right? People are gonna call you like, oh my, why are you being such a dick? Why are you like, you're gonna become annoying to people. You're gonna make it uncomfortable for them to be around you because you choose yourself and because you stand by the things you believe and you have boundaries. And when you enforce those boundaries, when you're really your own person, when you become authentic, that is when life truly becomes fun. Because we were talking about misalignment before. When you become the villain, you become actually aligned. Because you're no longer in this game of chasing what other people think you should do. You just lock in on the things that you feel like doing, the things that you feel in your soul. And you almost build this new identity that is fucking unstoppable and that is also dangerous. Because the minute you become disagreeable, the minute you stop trying to please others, you know deep down to a degree, conflict will come into play. You will deal with a bunch of conflict. Now, this could be with your parents. It could be at your workplace. If you work a 9 to 5, it could be in your business with clients. It could be with your friends. It could be even in your relationship. The minute you start to choose yourself and you start to finally enforce boundaries, that is the best filter for the people in your life. Because the people in your life who genuinely are there for you and genuinely believe in the things that you're doing, and they want to go the long distance with you, they want to go the long way, they will still be there. But the freeloaders, the people who were there just because you were making them feel better, they're going to go away. They're going to go away. And again, this whole idea of becoming a villain is finally choosing yourself over others. Instead of walking over like your own set of values, instead of denying your desires, instead of denying the things that you truly believe in, you choose that. And that's the only way. That's why people who are in general like good, this idea of this the nice guy, right? People who don't want to bother anyone, people who don't have no ego, just because society told them to not have any ego, they're not going to do shit. They're not going to do shit because in business, especially, I mean, in life in general, if you want to build a legacy, if you want to become exceptional, if you want to be top level, you have to be a fucking savage. You got to be a savage. You got to be a winner. Look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wasn't a nice guy. He was coming in the office and he was like, do this shit, do this, do this, do this. It doesn't matter what you say, my vision is right. He might have been wrong a couple of times, but it doesn't matter because he built that fucking company. And that's the whole point. Prince was the same. Prince would come in, fucking control everyone, tell everyone like, no, my vision or nothing. That's how you got to be. Now, obviously, you have to be really careful with how you select feedback, and you have to filter out, again, is this the person that is qualified first and foremost to give me this sort of feedback? Do I want to listen to them? What is their life right now? You analyze, and then you take that feedback. But you have to choose yourself. And this is coming from someone who, again, used to be that nice guy. And there are still some residuals to this day. And what one other thing that is gonna stem from this is like the minute you start to choose yourself and become that villain, you're gonna start to fucking be magnetic. You're gonna attract more opportunities. You're gonna attract better clients. You're gonna attract more money in your life. Because you're no longer scared, because you're no longer coming out with this like mask. You actually embody your own authentic self. You don't put out this persona of, yeah, I'm this nice guy and I don't want to bother anyone and I'm not trying to offend anyone, right? Fuck that. And I look, I can talk about this shit for hours because these are things that I live myself with content as well. For a long time, I tried to go like super polished and I didn't really try to like show these sides of me because I was like, nah, this is gonna bother people. So I wanted to please everyone. But I was saying it myself in my content. It's like, if you want to, and this goes for business, for any kind of like, if you're a coach right now, if you want to help every single person, you're going to end up helping no one. You're going to end up helping no one. And you're going to hate the things that you're doing anyway. And most of my life, I remember in college as well, I was trying to fit in. I was trying to be like them until I realized, you know what, fuck that, because I'm never going to be like these people. So I might as well choose myself, because choosing yourself also gives you clarity. Because that's the beauty in this. You have to understand what you have, the level of skill sets that you have, the belief system that you got. Those things make you unique. But they don't matter if you constantly deny yourself, if you constantly deny who you are to shapeshift into what you think will please others. And think about the self-abandonment. Think about what that does to you, what that did to you throughout the years. Because I'm telling you, when you finally make that switch, when you finally choose yourself and dare to speak your mind and dare to choose your own set of belief, that's when everything in life becomes aligned. That's when the right people will show up. That's when the wrong people will disappear. And to be able to step into the villain era, you might need to change your environment. You might need to stop hanging out with people that you used to hang out with. You might need to change your entire social dynamic for you to be able to become that villain, for you to be able to fully discover yourself. The thing is, most people don't even know who the fuck they are. That's the fucking truth. I told you in the beginning this one was going to be a triggering video. Most people don't even know who they are deep down. They don't. They do not know. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they are because, again, most of the time they just live for others. They never live for themselves. Do you have the courage to live for yourself? Do you have the courage to finally put yourself first? And see how that is for a change. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, at first it's gonna be super uncomfortable. It's gonna be like, what the fuck is this, right? I had so many moments, especially lately, when I truly chose myself. And there's still that part of my brain that goes, oh, like, you shouldn't want to like be this guy, right? Like tone it down. Try to tone it down. Try to like not bother anyone, but I'm like, bro, I'm about to be 29 this month. And I realized with content, with everything that I've been doing, I've only been giving you, the viewer, I think 2%, 3% of who I really am. And that just tells me that I've hidden a lot of parts of myself, of who I really am, of the things that I truly believe in, because I was scared of bothering people. Bothering who? That's the thing. The internet doesn't like... You have to understand, if you're creating content and you're afraid of people judging you, like I got death threats. When I was making music, I was getting death threats. Now, from time to time, I get some comment, whatever, it doesn't fucking bother me. Because I do understand the minute you're starting to provide genuine value and you start to disrupt some ideas and some markets, you're gonna piss people off, but that's fine. It comes with the dinner, that's fine. But I'm choosing myself now. That is the thing. And I'm becoming a villain by saying no to the bullshit that was keeping me down before. Because everybody wants you to be down with them. That is the fucking thing. Everyone wants you to be down, to be low. No, like the minute you become a villain, your energy goes up. Your revenue goes up. Everything is intertwined. Your entire spirit goes up. Because the minute you become that villain, you understand the validation from people is absolutely nothing. It's nothing. The only validation that I'm looking for is from God. The only true judgment that I fear and that I pay attention to is from God. What the fuck am I gonna like? We're all gonna go anyway, right? What business do I have worrying about what Joe Schmo from fucking, from whatever place is saying about me? Especially when I'm genuinely changing lives with my content, with my business. I'm helping people make thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. I'm changing lives. I'm building fucking amazing brands. What the fuck do I need to worry about? And again, being this villain requires you to finally take the reins and say no. Finally take the reins and dare to fucking speak your mind with the risk of ruining some relationships that you are not aligned with anyway. Because society teaches you to not have an ego. Society teaches you to just play it small. But I've always had this internally. But again, I was so afraid speaking that into the existence. Because I was like, I don't want to bother the people around me. But the truth is, I've always wanted to play in the big fucking leagues. That's one thing that my mom always told me. It's like, you have to think big. You have to fucking think big. Like Michelangelo said, the problem with most people isn't that they aim too high and they miss, they aim way too low and they hit every single time. So my mom always told me, you have to think big. So I'm thinking fucking huge. The stuff that I'm building with Unlock Creators. I'm about to get into SaaS as well. Build companies. It's like I'm already a fucking billionaire in my mind. And I'm the best. Like I'm at a point right now where you have to understand, if you're new to the channel, if you're still watching this, congrats, you're a fucking G. But I'm at a point right now where I'm like, I don't care. I do believe I'm the best. If you want to DM me down below, if you want to work together, and if you want me to help you one-on-one to build the most premium brand your space has ever fucking seen, so you can charge 4 figures, 5 figures for your offers, I'm gonna approach you like that. It's like, I'm the fucking best. I don't care who you want to, I don't care all of these funnel guys and stuff, like fuck all that. If you actually want to build a fucking amazing fucking brand, I'm the best. I'm the best. And it's the whole Kanye model. I'm the best. So hopefully this made sense. Make a decision right now to stop being that people pleaser. Become the villain that you know you need to become to change your fucking life. We're in September. It's like what, 4 months or whatever until 2026. Take a look at your life, man. Take a look at your life and realize you have to stop putting on that mask. You have to stop to shape shift to fit every single person's agenda but yourself, and take the fucking reins. I'll see you in the next one.